This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Welcome to the W, where elite athletes are redefining the game of basketball. From buzzer-beating shots, jaw-dropping defense, and logo threes, the WNBA delivers nonstop action and world-class talent every game. These athletes don't just play the game, they elevate it. The biggest stars, the brightest stage. AT&T WNBA All-Star 2025 comes to Indianapolis July 18th through 19th. Tune into the game July 19th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Saks Off 5th, up to 70% off every day. Summer is officially here. Time to dress like it. From breezy linen and floral dresses to chic sandals and beach-ready swim. Saks Off 5th has the designer styles you'll live in all season long. Plus, shop new arrivals every week. You'll find Alice and Olivia, Valentino Garavani, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more. Head to SaksOff5th.com or a Saks Off 5th store near you for up to 70% off every day.
Hey, want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program?
Yes, I do. How can I do that?
You can make your voice heard on the Brad, Sean, Brian text line. Just let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
We also have the 651 Carpets Plus Studios, the Connecticut Water Systems Hotline, and we also have the legendary Mark Rosen, who joins us after a week's vacation. I'm Common. He's 10 to B. There's Mark Rosen here. Have you ever, in your 50-plus illustrious career, have you ever had your own office?
Yes. Not for a long. We had...
Because when
I heard you have your own office now.
When I visited you
CCO.
over at CCO, you always had like a cubicle area, but not an actual office.
Yeah, that was downstairs. The genesis of what happened was we got booted upstairs to the second floor. Like when I used to call in my... what we used to call it, the edit suite, whatever. On that same floor, we had the entire sports department for a while, and I had my own office.
Oh, you did?
But it was awkward because we had, the other reporters and producers, whatever, and overlooking the mall, Nicollet Mall. But then, news time would come, and we weren't around anyone else in the news department. So I would run down to the fourth floor, and that's where our studios were, obviously. And I would also, obviously mingle at times in the newsroom. But I can't remember if it was our news director, was Ted Conover, who it was. They said, you know what, this is ridiculous to have you guys upstairs. We want you, integrated in the main newsroom. So they eventually got us out of there and got my little cubicle that you saw, and around everybody else.
But you used to have an actual office with a door and a desk.
Yeah, it was great. Oh, I loved it. I had a gumball machine in there, and I had my own TV and could watch the games. And
I'm disappointed because I wanted to have something over you, but I have nothing over you.
No, and
everything. You have everything.
I had. Well, it didn't last that long, but it was fun when it lasted. And then I went downstairs and sitting next to the pod where Shelby was over there. Then eventually Frank and Amelia and Kessler. Kessler would be sitting over in his pod, and Kessler wouldn't be in the Minneapolis all that often because obviously at that point, that most of his time at CCO he was covering the Capitol.
Yeah.
So he had an office in St. Paul, probably with a door. I'd have to ask him that. Having dinner with him Friday night, with my boss Mim, he was sitting at a pod with.
Where are you going to have dinner?
Someplace in St. Paul.
Posh and Tony?
I don't know. I've never been there. I think it's near Home and Field. I don't know. I was not involved in the arrangements. Okay. I'm just a passenger. I'm going along, and always enjoyable, very breezy conversation, always with Mr. Kessler and Mim. And I
like going out to dinner. I like Kessler. I like Mim.
Well, I don't know.
I'd like an invite.
Well, we'll invite you guys out sometime. If you want.
I'm kind of busy.
You're not that busy. But anyway, Kessler sat at a pod. I had to throw it out under the bus because it's just the way, I don't really care anymore. Esme Murphy was also at that pod. I'm not always the neatest guy in the world. I tried more lately than ever before. Especially I have a desk at home where I keep my stuff, pretty
neat. Is
it
cluttered?
Not.
Okay.
Her desk looked like a
Hurricane Ethel had went through.
Yeah, Meat Sauce's worst day when he was a child, when he had like candy wrappers and gum under the table.
Do you know that's the way Meat Sauce operated? Or are you just guessing?
I'm guessing based on everything he's told me and what his father's told me.
Everything from I've seen around here, it's accurate.
Okay, but there's always. I think there was one time I remember when I was in elementary school. You had those desks that you'd open up. And I don't think I had a real neat and tidy papers underneath the desk. Oh. And it was one of those times when the parents came to visit.
Okay.
And I had to open my desk. Oh, that was embarrassing because it was bad. But Esme set the bar. And as someone as astute as she is, covering everything, and she's a brainiac, she really is. But her desk was unimaginable. And Kessler was sitting right across from her. I'm sure he's got a lot of stories. I actually have a picture of it before I left. I had to take a picture of it before I left CCO. Anyway, to answer your question, long-winded, I did have an office for a while, and it was wonderful. But then I got booted downstairs.
Did you protest?
No, I didn't have any choice. They just said, we want you down in the newsroom so you can, we want you a part of the conversations. And it did make sense. It was kind of silly, honestly, to have us upstairs because we really were isolated. Many times I'd have to talk to people on the assignment desk or, other people down there editors, and I just didn't have that quick access to them, but it made sense at the time. And then it's kind of like here at iHeart where they had the salespeople up there on the second floor for quite a while, and they went away. I don't know where they went, and so we were kind of left alone up there for a while. We had other entities up there. I think I don't know if they rented it out, but it was kind of different.
A messy work desk can be associated with several personality traits, including creativity.
I agree with that.
Extroversion. What's that?
Just being an extrovert.
And nonconformity. It may also indicate poor time management or preference for a more stimulating work environment. However, it's important to remember that desk organization is not a definitive indicator of personality and can vary greatly from person to person.
I get that, and I would say that generally speaking, I would let mine get, even in my office, I would have extra papers. I'm going, eventually I go, what am I doing with this stuff? But I would just say that Esme's was at another level.
Do you think that do you think when you're in an office environment, so that, take away the office part, because I guess your office is your office, but let's say you're in the cubicle things like we have over there.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, unfair to have, you have just a totally messy cubicle area if you're sharing cube space with other people and theirs is relatively neat? Do you think it's like, dude, shape up a little bit, or do you think that's, hey, it's your area, you do whatever you want?
Well, I think there's a probably in between, only because even at CCO, we'd have a lot of tours going through there. So there'd be a tour guide that would bring, a Boy Scout troop or Girl Scout troop through whatever time of day, late in the afternoon, and they would give you a tour of the newsroom. So I think at some point there'd also be a reflection on, wait, this is one of the top, even my desk would be like, that's what his desk looks like? That's pretty sloppy.
Yeah.
So I think it was a combination of all of it. Personal pride, personal hygiene, all those things. People had food underneath, and once in a while we'd have a mouse running through there, at the old station. No! There was a couple of bats that flew there.
My desk is, my office
How is it?
I have an open door policy.
Do you? Okay.
Anybody can come and see me anytime they'd like.
Are you going to fill it with stuff?
I have a sign-up sheet on the door for free show. So if you'd like me to tell you a few jokes, maybe tell a few stories, you can sign up. I have openings at 11:30, 11:45, then 3:15, even 3:30.
Yeah, that's stretching it because you normally are on the road.
But if somebody puts 3:30 down, I'll hang around till 3:30. It's called free show.
Wow, that's interesting.
Because the company does not pay me
Right, to do that.
to raise the morale of my coworkers, but I'm willing to do that. So you can come by anytime you want.
Okay. Well, I pretty much have my hour here 3 days a week, and that's enough.
Is that plenty for you?
It's usually enough.
So,
yeah.
Is it good to be back at Kowalski's, back at home? Or?
I was at Kowalski's yesterday.
You were?
My son was in part of my vacation. My son came in from L.A., and he had a bunch of buddies from San Francisco that came in. He wanted to show them around town. They had an Airbnb over Lake of the Isles. They rented a house over there, and they had a blast. They went to went to a couple different spots that Nick was aware of. They actually went to the Twins game Saturday afternoon, one of their walk-off wins that they had. They came over to the condo, as they say, and watched the fireworks. Had some refreshments for him and treats that Karin was nice to put together, and watched the fireworks, and then had some lunches with Nick, and then so I was taking him to the airport, and I had to pick up my salmon at Kowalski's. At Kowalski's yesterday. Nick had been there once before, so yes, he did get there.
Well, he practically lived there, I bet, when because you practically lived there. I'm sure he stayed there before.
Yeah, he has at least one night, yeah. So, yeah, it was great. Listen, you guys talk about all this toilet conversation.
Do you have a bidet?
I do not, but I
always love that
3 days celebrating Karin's 60th birthday. We were up in Kohler, Wisconsin.
Did you get in Kohler?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of, we went to the display center, nothing but toilets in that place.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could get her a bidet for her birthday. What a great gift that would be.
Yeah,
very romantic.
I passed on that one.
I get you. Let's take a break. We'll come back. I got a handful of questions from Mark Rosen. He's been gone. Not a lot has happened in the past week, but there have been some developments in the world of sports. So we'll do that next. Common Man program on the Fan. Tenney's got a keyword.
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword cash at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is cash. Enter now at KFAN.com.
Welcome to the W, where elite athletes are redefining the game of basketball. From buzzer-beating shots, jaw-dropping defense, and logo threes, the WNBA delivers nonstop action and world-class talent every game. These athletes don't just play the game, they elevate it. The biggest stars, the brightest stage. AT&T WNBA All-Star 2025 comes to Indianapolis July 18th through 19th. Tune into the game July 19th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. With school out, summer is the perfect time to teach our kids real-world money skills they'll use forever. Greenlight is a debit card and the #1 family finance and safety app used by millions of families, helping kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely. Parents can send their kids money and track their spending and saving, while kids build money confidence and skills in fun ways. Start your risk-free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/iHeart. That's greenlight.com/iHeart.
Thanks to friends at Unreal, you can restock your wardrobe with Unreal golf apparel this year, just like Common. Register to win up to $1,000 in Unreal golf apparel on our contest page. One lucky winner will restock their closet with amazing golf apparel thanks to Unreal. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter today.
Level 13-14 pass, Common Man program. I'm Common. Tenneby, the legendary Mark Rosen. We started a new bit. I think we did it for the first time. Then it'll probably be the last time. We called it. It's a rube test to see how big of a rube you are.
I heard you guys talking about that.
We like to call you Metropolitan Mark. You're a metro area kind of a guy, right?
Yeah, correct.
I'm going to do a quiz with you.
Oh boy.
What are the 7 counties in the Twin Cities metro area?
Hennepin, Ramsey.
Now, hold on. Okay, we've got to make sure you're getting right. Okay.
In the metropolitan area?
It's the Twin Cities 7-county metro area, refers to the metropolitan region surrounding Minneapolis and St. Paul, encompassing the counties of
Hennepin.
Yep.
Ramsey.
Yes.
Dakota.
Yes.
I just had it, the one in St. Paul. Did I say Ramsey?
Yes, you did.
I said Ramsey. Okay.
You've said Dakota, Hennepin, Ramsey.
I don't know. I'm blanking out right now. That's terrible.
You've never been outside that 3-county
Well, that's
area.
not true at all. I just talked about the fact that I just drove up in Kohler, Wisconsin. I'm thinking the weather. I'm thinking the weather related. I was just watching it last night.
Why do you think a dark star?
Anoka.
There you go.
Very good. There's 4.
Anoka. I'm trying to think of counties.
The county I live in.
Once you get over that Anoka County line and head north,
Woodbury is St. Croix. I don't know what the county is that you're in.
Washington. Okay. I'm not aware. You've lived in Minneapolis your entire life.
If I say them on the map all the time, I would remember them. I don't.
Scott and Carver. I'm disappointed that you didn't
Carver
know
County is where Chanhassen is, and Scott County
I'm
is.
I'm surprised that you didn't know that.
Well,
because especially when of all the years at TB, when they let's go to the weather center.
100%.
We have a tornado watch in the 7-county metro, and they name all the
I would
counties.
blank out. No, I didn't.
Tarasenko, your thoughts?
Hell of a player about 7 years ago. 6-7 years ago. He was a dynamic as it gets. I don't know if they can, I will say that it sort of smacks of a lot of Minnesota teams, not necessarily the Wild, Minnesota teams who've brought in big name players near the end of their career, closer to the middle or the beginning. Tarasenko may find the fountain of youth here. I mean, hockey players have a way, looking all the way to the top end of the old Alex Ovechkins of the world, the Sidney Crosbys of the world, all the way down. He's not an old man playing hockey. I don't know what injuries he's had that have slowed him down. I mean, there's a lot of things that can affect a guy's overall. I think we saw that even with Zach Parise. He had really serious back issues here as his time went on here, and eventually continued on playing. But eventually, that's what derailed him late in his career. So I don't know what his physical conditioning is. He's a very, very, prolific scorer, but that was just the memories of when he was with, in particular, the St. Louis Blues. He saw him score a lot of goals against the Wild. So hope he's, got something left in the tank. That's all you can, I don't know what else to say about him right now. I don't know his physical conditioning at the moment.
The Wolves, meanwhile, they re-signed Randall. Not re-signed. He exercised the option, as did Nas. Nas gone. Your thoughts? Nas.
Well, I think it was expected. They couldn't keep all of them, and good luck to him. He's a class guy, a class act, a good player, but they can't keep everybody. That's just the way of the salary cap in these days, in particular in the NBA. I still think it's possible they could bring another player in, and I don't necessarily think Tim Connolly's done, as we saw even with a year ago, the big trade that Tim Connolly made with Cat.
And 2 or 3 days before training camp.
Before the season, basically. So there's a lot of time to land another, a guard. I think that's the area they're looking in. Obviously, you've got the summer league coming up, and I think they're looking for the leap in quality of play from Terrence Shannon and Rob Dillingham in particular to be more of a force at the point guard. They have good young players that you have to count on. You can't just go, they don't have any. No, this is why you draft those people and give them an opportunity, because not everybody is a star right away. And so I think, it's the same thing with the Vikings. When you talk about the Dallas Turners and other, people get so caught up in, we got to go out and get someone else. Well, sometimes you draft people and you have on your own team that you need to have improve. And it's silly that we live in this world that we forget that there's the biggest improvement normally comes between years 1 and 2. And I think for both those guys, Dillingham and Shannon, will have a bigger impact on this team. And it's not to suggest that Connolly's done. I don't necessarily think he is. He's just got to make it fit. I was sad, but happy to see my guy Luka Garza go to the Boston Celtics. He wasn't going to get much playing time here. Even
we're too deep. We didn't need him.
Well, I mean, they don't. I mean, that's the thing. He just didn't get much time here, and Boston may be a good landing spot for him. Obviously, they're going through a whole change over there from a salary standpoint. But for now, I mean, I thought it was kind of a foregone conclusion. They weren't going to be able to fit him back into the cap. So good luck to him.
Do you think when the season starts, your point guard combination will be Mike Conley and Rob Dillingham, or do you think? Or what does your gut tell you? Or are you hearing anything?
No, I'm not hearing anything specifically because Conley is so close to the vest when it comes to that stuff. I mean, you hear about Bradley Beal's name, or other names that are kind of still floating around.
What do your sources tell you about Bradley Beal? Is there real interest in him here, or is that just? Well,
my sources are no longer with the organization since A-Rod and Mark Lawrence took over. I just say Conley doesn't let much out. If the Johnny Krasinskis of the world aren't flying with stuff that they hear inside, then nobody is. He's as tightly wound up with that organization as anyone. And the Britt Robsons, I mean, it's just sometimes you just have to let people do their work. It's still, we're just getting into summer league time right now, and there's plenty of time for other moves to be made, or move to be made. I mean, otherwise, if you look at it realistically, they're kind of running it back. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think they have to figure Ant's going to take another step in his ascension to being one of the top. He already is one of the top players in the league, but he's got more work to do. So I think a lot of it has to be internally. Those two guys in particular, with Shannon and Dillingham, getting more playing time and making bigger improvement. I don't think the two young centers they drafted, they're not going to see much of a playing time, if at all, this year. I don't think. I mean, unless they really kind of impress at summer camp to the point where Chris Finch is who's going to kind of run in there for Gobert. Obviously, Naz Reid can play that position, but the young center they got from France is making the kind of strides that they hope he is. I just don't see him having that big of an impact immediately. Hopefully down the road he will, but not right now.
Back in the olden days, late 70s, late Houston Oilers head coach Bum Phillips, after losing consecutive AFC championship games in the Pittsburgh Steelers in front of a welcome home crowd at the Astrodome, he said, last year we got to the door. This year we knocked on it. Next year we're going to kick it in. Do you think the Wolves have gone to consecutive Western Conference finals? They got to the door. They knocked on the door. Do you think they kick the door in this year? Do you think that they get to the NBA finals? Your thoughts? I
think it's going to be tough. I mean, I think that they're certainly going to be they're already looked upon as one of the top three teams in the West. The obvious conclusion is that OKC is going to run it back, and with the team that they have and the improvement that they got with the young players.
You like that Thunder Club?
Well, how can you not? I mean, and look at a guy like Chet Holmgren and his development. He's just scratching the surface of, I think, of what he's going to be. And SGA just signed one of the biggest contract in the history of the NBA. They're loaded. It's just a matter of, can they keep that motivation as well? It's not easy. There has not been, as we know, I think, a repeat champ in the NBA in 7-8 years now.
There's motivation right there.
Well, there is. So I think nobody else will be in the conversation. I think that's all you can do is. I think you're right, and you brought up the point that I think getting in. You got to have the top four. No, you don't. I mean, you just have to get in the top six, honestly, to give yourself a shot. Home court doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. You
got to beat them all.
You
got to win some on that. I mean, I guess if you had home court advantage throughout and won all four of your home games, I guess you don't need to win.
I'm really concentrating a lot more right now, obviously, on the Vikings and how they're going to win the NFC North. And that's for my sports energy.
What about your Twins?
I'm going to be there tonight and tomorrow night because my daughter is a huge Cubs fan, and she's circled these dates from the time they came out. She worked at Wrigley Field, and she was going to school there. A Wrigley fan photo. She would take pictures of everybody in front of the big famous sign at Wrigley in front of the stadium. And so she's had these dates circled since they came out. So we're excited about that.
Let's talk some Twins and some Vikings. Sure. We'll do that other side of the break. Final segment of the Grum today. Tana B. Common and Mark Rosen here on The Fan.
Welcome to the W, where elite athletes are redefining the game of basketball. From buzzer-beating shots, jaw-dropping defense, and logo threes, the WNBA delivers nonstop action and world-class talent every game. These athletes don't just play the game, they elevate it. The biggest stars, the brightest stage. AT&T WNBA All-Star 2025 comes to Indianapolis July 18th through 19th. Tune into the game July 19th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC.
And
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's Tennessee. Mark Rosen is here as well. Your Minnesota Twins team, they're now in a stretch where they win a game or two and lose a couple of games, and offense doesn't seem to be generating a whole heck of a lot. The team is sort of, and then when you're in the same division as Detroit, 13, 14 games out of first right now. They're staring up. They're not in a wild card spot right now. Not a lot. Doesn't know there's a lot to look forward to with this club right now. Your thoughts?
Well, they showed again over the weekend. They had a couple nice comeback wins against a pretty good Tampa Bay team. 2 walk-off wins. Harrison Bader had a nice stretch there, and when you look at sometimes at their lineup and you go, well, it's pretty formidable. I still don't quite get what in the hell is going on with Carlos Correa offensively. The expectations were pretty high. You're paying the guy that kind of money. We saw what he did with Houston. And, I know he had the plantar fasciitis but that was last year. And he's playing in the field. He's playing well in the field. But it seems like any time he's up with men in scoring position, he's not really doing anything. And I think that's a key part. Buxton's going to the All-Star game and well-deserved. And, they have a pretty decent lineup, nothing that's going to strike fear in the hearts of, a lot of teams. And they Wallner and Larnach are up and down, and Royce Lewis seems like he's not the same player right now from the assortment of injuries. So those key guys are just not consistently giving him really good at bats. And I think that's the difference. Even, the speed on the bases isn't such. When you looked at, Tampa Bay, and that they're not the top team in the American League East. They're in the mix, but they have a lot of the elements that, you like on a baseball team, including a lot of speed on the bases. So you kind of wonder, which kind of gets back to our discussion we had, I think a week and a half ago, whatever, about what are the Twins excelling at? What are they really good at? The starting pitching right now without Pablo continues to be up and down. Bailey Ober now on, the 10 or 15 day, injured list, disabled list with a hip impingement of some sort. Maybe that was affecting his delivery.
That's when you had your hip replacement. When you had a hip impingement,
thing,
right?
Yeah, exactly the same thing. Then I ended up getting my knee replaced instead. I don't know how they made that mistake. Didn't fix the hip problem. But it's just, you kind of, they're a nice team, but they're nothing. But it kind of goes back to, a couple of years ago when, they had that run and they ended up, getting the wild card. They finally broke the hex. They won the series. Place was going nuts at Target Field. People were hungry for really good baseball. They win a series. They unfortunately couldn't close out the next series. And that's the time you got to put your foot down on the pedal. And they refused to do it. And I thought that's where they lost a lot of the fan base from saying, you're not committed. You're not doing what, finally what Billy Guerin's trying to do with still some limitations with the Wild, what the Timberwolves have done, what the Vikings in particular have done, signing the kind of free agents they have the last 2 years, both defensively and now in the offensive line, recognizing what their weaknesses are, and they just attacked it. So you look at the Twins and you go, and they have salary cap issues that the other teams have to deal with. You go, well, what's Falvey and Levine? Well, Levine's not there anymore, but what are they thinking about behind closed doors? What do they talk about? What do they feel? What do they see when you look at the crowds at Target Field? I'm sure tonight when I go, it's going to, a lot of Cub fans, will be there, and great night for baseball. It's hard not to want to, be at the ballpark tonight to experience that and hope the Twins are competitive and, put up a good fight. But, they're just not that team that's going to make a run here. I just don't see it. There are too many teams in front of them right now. They had that long stretch where they just weren't playing good baseball, and I don't see them going on another 13-game winning streak. So especially without Pablo, they just don't have the pitching to compete at that level.
Well, what about Zeb Matthews and David Festa? I thought and Louis. I thought we had this deep pitching staff.
Louis Varland's been pitching well in relief, and Festa's starting tomorrow night, I believe. I think Simeon Woods Richardson is starting tonight. Festa pitched well, I think, his last time out. They have guys that are pitching well, but there's just again, it's one thing or another. They don't put it together very often, and that kind of gets back to my whole, I guess, theory is that they're not a good enough baseball team day in, day out to make a run right now. I think when you're playing some of these teams, and the Cubs are, first place team, and they're going to have their hands full. And we saw what happened, in Detroit. Obviously, you face a pitcher like Skubal, you're not going to compete against him, and they're going to face. Isn't Pittsburgh coming to town this weekend? Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I watched a lot of baseball this weekend. I did see a lot of I watched a lot of the games, and every time, and they did. It was fun. It was fun to watch them come back twice and have walk-off wins in the ninth. Really unusual. It's good to see. Weren't good enough on Sunday, but that's the problem. They're just most nights they got too many areas of weakness that just aren't able for them to overcome. So I love to see the bunt they had that Brooks Lee had to win the game the other day. I was, with Buxton on third base, all you got to do is get the ball down and, he's going to walk home. I love to see that. I don't think Brooks Lee had ever bunted in the major league. So I was sitting at home going, bunt.
Well, then they celebrated like it's.
Well, every team does that. I know. They throw water on each other and all that. Ridiculous. Well, I know. Especially when you play one of 162. It's just, yeah, I know. But, yeah, I don't know what else. I mean, they're kind of filling in the blanks. They're a decent team, but they're not good enough right now to, I don't think, make a run and get in the playoffs.
On the other hand, you're excited about this Vikings club. You like them a lot.
I am. I think.
Do you think this is the year finally after?
I hope so.
Do you think so? I mean, how many years have you missed out on a big game? 66. Is that how long we've been in existence, or 60?
Well, they started in 61.
So it'd be 64 years.
Yeah, I never really thought about. They didn't have the big game for a long time, and then until 1969, 70. That the Vikings got into it. I don't know. I mean, I think they can be in the mix this year. I love the fact that on paper they have fixed, without question, their biggest weakness, and that was the offensive line. I think that will, again, from the fundamentals of the game, we always talk about blocking and tackling and doing the things well, when going back to old Vince Lombardi, when they could basically call out, Horning left, Horning right, or when the Washington Redskins had
I like Taylor.
Had the Hogs up front. It was John
remember
Riggins.
Elijah Pitts?
Of course, I remember Elijah Pitts. When the Washington Redskins had the Hogs, they called them, the fans dressed up like piggies in the stands, and they had those Hogs up front, and John Riggins was a moose in the backfield, and Joe Theismann would just hand him the ball, diesel. And he just ran through people. So I think that with a young quarterback and the need after what happened last year, which was maybe the best thing that happened in disguise, was not so much the Lions game when Darnold had the yips, but the Rams game when they got exposed for having an offensive line that just could not handle the fast big guys up front. On paper, they fixed that, and that's the reason why. Number one, why I think I'm not even suggesting they're going to match.
He likes this club.
I'm not suggesting they're going to match last year's record. That's a hard thing to do. They managed to win 14 games.
Do you think they're going to win the big game? Do you like parades?
I love parades. I haven't seen one in quite a while.
Do you think we're going to win it all?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to bet on that right now. When we get to September, you're going to have to give me pretty good odds.
I owe you money still, I think.
You owe me $12.
Is it 12?
Yeah. I heard you talking about Venmo yesterday, as if you could ever figure out Venmo.
I don't know how to do Venmo.
Don't worry about it. I like hard, cold cash.
Oh, you do you?
Yeah, who doesn't? I mean, it's so weird when you go to get a cup of coffee or cold drink in these days, and you pay with cash, they kind of look at you funny. It's like, what is this? It's cash. We used to use it all the time. You take it still? Some places don't. Yeah, I like this team.
I'm probably in the minority, but listening to Rip and Rosen decimate the local baseball club kind of makes me pine for the days of wine and hogwash, when he would unabashedly spew a string of hornswoggleism. Hornswoggleism in efforts to get us to believe that they had a chance. It's a shame, Common. There was a time when you would.
Yeah, but I'm trying to be realistic about it.
But now you don't lean up against that batting cage anymore and don't need any sources and access.
That's not the reason. I watch enough baseball, and I think I watch, talk to enough of the baseball guys, that I see around town, and I'll see at the games with the Lavells and other people like that. It's not so much their opinion; it's just what I've observed and talked to some other people that this is kind of who they are. I mean, they're a good team. They can be very entertaining. They can win a bunch of games, and maybe they will sneak into that final wild card if they go on a run.
There's the mark
That's what we need.
That's what we wanted to hear.
And then you got a chip in a chair.
Then you got
Pablo back. Then you got Joe Ryan, my favorite pitcher.
Right.
I've been talking about him for 3 years now.
And then Ober will have his hip replaced.
Come back.
He's getting hip replacement surgery. I think it's happening right now. I think. I
don't think he's having that replaced.
I think. Yeah, and I think
Zeb Matthews will come back with a vengeance.
I think Sheldon's doing the surgery right now. Sheldon is replacing his
he's
hip.
not a surgeon.
He's not?
No, he's not. That's one thing.
How long have you been seeing Sheldon? Most of your life, right?
Sheldon Byrne? No, I think I was thinking about this the other day because 2000.
The doctor of the beautiful people.
He's a hell of a doctor, number one. But I don't know. It's probably a good 30 years.
I've seen Sheldon before.
Well, I'm sure you have. He's amazing. Sheldon Burns. He's been team doctor for the Wild, the Wolves. The Vikings. And at his, he was on the bench with Herb Brooks. In the 1980 Olympics. He was a young guy then, and he still has his patients every day. I don't know. He's this time of years maybe he gets a little more time off, but he's a workaholic. He's always available. He does answer your phone. He answers the phone.
What do you think your reaction is going to be when we're in week 14?
Yep.
McCarthy's benched, and Rodgers has led the Steelers to an 11-4 record. Then you're going to say,
first of all, that's a fantasy. Rodgers is not leading that team to any 11-4 record.
Can it be?
You can come up with any sort of scenario you want. Yes. You don't want to make a bet on that.
I
love the Steelers. Every year I talk about the Steelers organization, how organizations win championships and how they at least compete at that level. Now, Mike Tomlin's not, having the success he once did and what the Steelers are not, but expectations are always such. But I just think the AFC is so tough. And Pittsburgh is going to face more competition than ever. And Rodgers will be a great story. We're going to love the drama. Would you say 11-4 or something? That's a pipe dream.
You're getting ripped.
For what?
I love that Rosen claims he was calling for Brooks Lee to bunt in the game-winning run.
I was on my couch, I was.
Which was a better prediction, that or framework of a deal? Also, it's called a squeeze play, Mark.
I know.
You're a ball guy.
Okay.
Sad, really.
I understand what it was. I don't know if it was a safety or was Buxton. I never saw a replay. Was Buxton running home or was he waiting for Brooks Lee to make contact? Emil, you know the difference between a safety squeeze and a suicide squeeze. I never saw a replay to suggest that Buxton had taken off and was running full speed towards home plate. Maybe it was the case. I just didn't see it. So I don't know. I thought it was a safety squeeze.
Larry Mandela guy. He's got nothing better to do.
Well, he never does. Maybe
just
pay
sits and
attention
waits.
to the game.
Just waits for you to come on. He just waits to jump on something.
He must have been really lonely last week when I wasn't there.
I didn't hear from him.
No,
he didn't.
Why would
you?
No.
And as soon as you get back, he's already said half a dozen.
He's got a lot of material he saved up. Oh, Larry Mondello guy, what would we do without you? I don't know. I guess we'd have to listen to...
Your guy, PJ, got a 1-year extension.
How many extensions is this guy? Based on his excellent recruiting that he just had? These verbal commitments that he got for next year.
Yeah, another...
these college coaches put off the biggest scam in all of sports.
Don't they?
Because they constantly have 5-6 year contracts, and then
Right.
after a year or two, it's, well, you can't have it get under 4 because then
Right.
so they play this
They're gonna
game where it's always more than 4
Right.
years in their contract.
You got to have. I'm sure PJ's got a hell of an agent, and he plays the game very well. But you have to play the game right now because of the nil money that's out there that's causing chaos and everywhere, not having any commitments whatsoever. The transfer portal beyond 1 year with any of these guys, not even thinking about some of these high school kids that may or may not decommit, before signing day. So, on paper, PJ's done a hell of a job of late. I mean, he's locked up the top Minnesota kids. And I think that's probably where his agent went, pay me now. I mean, he's still, I don't know if he's still kind of middle of the road in the Big Ten coaches. But he's doing well.
You like this Gophers club, I think, a little
Well, I mean, it's time, though. I mean, you can talk all you want about the promise, but until they consistently can beat Iowa and Wisconsin every year, and knock off one of the big boys, and now the big boys include, the likes of Oregon and, USC and UCLA, and get in the mix. There's no more Big Ten West, but you have to take that next step, and they've managed to stub their toe sometimes against teams they shouldn't, and that's where PJ's got to make those adjustments this year.
Yeah,
and take the next steps.
I don't like this new system we have here.
What's that?
Well, I can't sign out of my hip cricket.
Huh?
What is that?
Why can't you?
Well, because it won't let me.
Why
so
won't it?
I hit sign in, and then you hit the little, looks like a Gear Daddy. Then you hit hi, Dan Cole, and then you hit sign out, and then it goes right back to my name and my password. And then I can't get rid of it.
Because you have it automatically saved every time?
Yeah. But why? It's never done this before. Usually it just goes blank, so the next person that comes in. So Big Ticket could
Did you automatically save it last time?
Yeah, I had to, because remember we had that snafu with it last week, remember? Were you here last week when we lost it completely and then we had to go through a different way? And I don't know. But I don't like it because anybody could come in here, send nasty text messages to people, and it looks like I sent them, and I didn't. I don't send nasty text messages. So what am I going to do? I don't know. This place
sounds like a Woodbury problem.
Well, I wouldn't call it a Woodbury problem. I'd call it an iHeartMedia problem, and I didn't want my reputation besmirched.
Yeah.
Would you want your reputation besmirched? Well, yours has already been besmirched.
It has, just by the Larry Mondello guy.
Yeah.
Good to be back with you, though.
That's been fun.
I got the training camp schedule from the coroner's office.
Should be good.
Out there. Yeah, I can't wait. The new Winter Park, here we come. It's quicker for you to get home.
It is. I like it.
I know you
like it
do.
a lot. I like being out there. There's no question. I like being in where all the action is. The vortex, as it were. It's good to have you back. We'll see you tomorrow right about 2 o'clock, I suppose.
Yes,
huh?
sir. Yes, sir.
Brian Oak at 1:30 for Rock Talk. Teddy, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. What a great day. We enjoyed our visit with you. We're back tomorrow at 12 noon. Big Ticket, JG. They're next year on The Fan.
Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. And good night, Minnesota.
Good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
I'm a fraud.
Yes.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Welcome to the W, where elite athletes are redefining the game of basketball. From buzzer-beating shots, jaw-dropping defense, and logo threes, the WNBA delivers nonstop action and world-class talent every game. These athletes don't just play the game, they elevate it. The biggest stars, the brightest stage. AT&T WNBA All-Star 2025 comes to Indianapolis July 18th through 19th. Tune into the game July 19th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC.
This is Jana Kramer from Wind Down with Jana Kramer. When we were deciding on our appliances for the house, Samsung was at the top of our list. And I love my Samsung appliances, especially because they're so reliable. And with my busy schedule, having reliable appliances has been a game changer. It's no wonder Samsung is the #1 brand for customer satisfaction. That's why I'm excited to tell you all about Samsung's new line of smart appliances featuring their brand new bespoke AI laundry combo. This incredible magic machine washes and dries in one machine, one load, no transfers, no timers, no rewashing needed. New bespoke AI appliances. This is home living made simple. For more information, visit samsung.com/bespoke.
68-minute cycle based on 27-inch combos, based on using a super speed cycle only with a 10-pound DOE load, cotton 50% plus polyester 50%. Individual results may vary based on actual load content.
A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen, and it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available July 17th. Rated everyone 10 and up. Only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.
Saks Off 5th, up to 70% off every day. Summer is officially here. Time to dress like it. From breezy linen and floral dresses to chic sandals and beach-ready swim. Saks Off 5th has the designer styles you'll live in all season long. Plus, shop new arrivals every week. You'll find Alice and Olivia, Valentino Garavani, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more. Head to SaksOff5th.com or a Saks Off 5th store near you for up to 70% off every day.